Good morning, everybody. I hereby open the meeting. I welcome the members of the Dutch House of Representatives and the people in the public gallery and the people following this meeting at home. And this is a public meeting, and I want to warmly welcome Mrs. Masih Alinejad and the delegation accompanying her today. The language of the meeting will be English, and it will take place here today at the request of my party and the Bali, the organization who is with you. I suggest that Mrs. Alinejad has about 5 minutes for an opening statement. It can be a little bit longer, it can be a bit shorter, as you like. Longer, to spend the rest of the time of the conversation with the members of the Dutch Parliament. And we have 5 members now, Ms. Marijnissen from the Socialist Party, Mr. Elien from the Liberal Party, Mr. van der Lee from the Green Party, Mr. Brekelmans from the Liberal Party, and Mr. Seder from the Christian Union. And I'm Jasper van Dijk from the Socialist Party as well. And now I want to give you the floor for your introduction. Please put on your microphone.
Actually, I don't need a microphone. I have a very loud voice, and that's why I got expelled from Iranian parliament. Thank you so much. It's an honor being here with the Member of Parliament, especially seeing that you care about the issue and the revolution which is taking place in Iran in a bipartisan way. This is all we need to see in all parliaments around the world. Yes, we are in the middle of a revolution led by women called Women, Life, Freedom, supported by men in Iran. The revolution started because of the brutal death of Mahsa Amini, who got killed in the hand of morality police. From the beginning, women were actually removing their hijab, shaking one of the main pillars of the Islamic Republic, but now the demand is beyond compulsory, getting rid of compulsory hijab and morality police. The people of Iran want to get rid of the gender apartheid regime. I know many in the West hesitate to use the word regime change, but this is the language that Iranian people want to use, that reform is dead in Iran. If you want to see change, you have to recognize the people of Iran who want to have regime change. But today, to be honest, I want to actually talk about why having a secular democracy in Iran not only benefit the people of Iran, it benefits you, the people in Europe. I remember 4 years ago at Stanford University, I was actually giving a talk about women's rights, but I said that next revolution will be led by women. A year and a half ago at the Bali, I repeated this again, but people didn't take it serious. Now we are in the middle of a revolution. So that is why I want to use the opportunity again in Netherlands, in the parliament, alongside the member of the parliament, to tell you about the future again. This revolution will win, and we will get rid of the Islamic Republic sooner or later. But with the support from you, from the democratic countries, definitely less people get killed, less people get tortured, less people face raped, and less people lose their eyes and their lives. So I want to actually categorize the areas that you will benefit secular democracy in Iran. First and most important part that you have to pay attention, security. Europe will not suffer from terrorism caused by Islamic Republic and its allies like Hezbollah and Hamas. For years and years, the Islamic Republic has sponsored terrorist organizations in the region. And the money which needs to go to people to solve poverty, to pay the salaries of workers which haven't been paid their salaries for months and months, is going to terrorist organizations like Hezbollah, Hamas, and others, who actually has been in the terrorist list by the United States of America and by the EU as well. Second benefit, that if we have a secular democracy, that the Europe will actually see the result and see the benefit as well, is having an Iran which actually going to export culture not nuclear bomb, not terrorism, which it has been 2 decades that the US government actually spend the resources of the people of Netherlands, of the people of the Europe, to have a nuclear deal from Iranian regime. But you have achieved nothing. Why? Because the Islamic Republic cheats. The Islamic Republic hide the nuclear enrichment. The Islamic Republic easily lie to international community. So clearly, you haven't achieved anything through diplomacy, through negotiations. If you really want to have stability in the region, then you cannot just have a negotiation with one of the most unstable regimes. If the West really want to have an Iran without bomb, this is the way. An Iran without the Islamic Republic is your ally, not these killers who want to have nuclear bomb and to show their power to European countries. Third era that I think it's going to benefit the West if you support the pro-democracy movement in Iran, it's economic. You will benefit from an Iran without sanctions, with the open economy, which will be free of corruption and mismanagement. Iran has a population of 18 million people who want your goods and your service. But because of this government and the corruption that actually the Revolutionary Guards, it's everywhere. All our companies are being actually, under the control of Revolutionary Guards, which is on the list of sanctions by Netherlands as well. You cannot benefit from our economy. Another thing, refugees. A secular Iran in a peaceful transition to democracy means there'll be no more flood of refugees coming across the borders of European countries. I myself have been away from my family for 13 years, but like millions of other Iranians that I can see their faces here, their dream is to go back to their homeland. Their dream is to go back and build up their own country. So if you support the voice of pro-democracy movement, the Women Life Freedom Revolution, believe me, you will benefit from this achievement and many others, which I think my 5 minutes is over, but I want to add one more, which is very important. Over the past few decades, we have seen part of Islamist culture, such as I mentioned before, terrorism, but including honor killings. Compulsory veiling, forced marriage has been exported to European countries. Many children have been suffering here in Netherlands from this Islamist culture being promoted by Taliban, by ISIS and Islamic Republic, which is an ISIS with oil, in my opinion. So you will see a reduction of honor killings in your own land if the Islamic Republic is isolated. So I want to actually tell you that when it comes to Iran, do not choose business over democracy. And why I say that? Because I strongly believe that having democratic Iran will actually will help to have more business, more security, more dignity, and much more safe world to live. That is why I am here actually to answer your questions. And I'm more than happy actually to be challenged as well because, I am a very tough woman. I'm a badass, let me be very clear. And my job is to give hard time to the politicians, especially in Europe when they shake hands with the killers. But honestly, if we have an Iran without Islamic Republic, a secular democracy, you're going to get rid of me as well. I'm going to be back to my garden in Iran. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It is a very passionate speech. My suggestion is that the members of parliament are able to ask questions now, and my proposal would be that we do one question per person, and then you answer right away, and then the next one, and so on. We have 50 minutes. First question for Ms. Marijnissen from the Socialist Party.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing at the moment. And yeah, well, the Women Life Freedom Revolution is something that we really support. And Zan Zendegi Azadi. Yes, I practice a bit, but I'm not so good at it. But I'm really happy that you are here, and I hope you you want to tell us everything we can do to support the women in Iran with their fight. And I thought that you, yesterday, when you had your conversation with our Prime Minister, Mr. Rutte, you spoke about isolate, and you also did that right away, isolate the Islamic Republic. Maybe you can tell us more about what is your feeling with that, and how can we achieve that? What are the steps we can take as the Netherlands to isolate the Islamic Republic? What are your thoughts about that?
That's a very good question, because I really needed time to talk about that. To be honest, Revolutionary Guards is a terrorist organization being actually designated by the US government. And I don't really get that, why the allies of the United States of America hesitate to do it. So I want to actually give you a better picture of what the Revolutionary Guards is doing and how you can isolate the Islamic Republic by actually putting Revolutionary Guards in the terrorist list. Right now, forget about what's going on in Iran. The Revolutionary Guards is sending drones to Putin to kill innocent Ukrainians. So we cannot say that, okay, the West is going to isolate Putin because he's a war criminal, but when it comes to Islamic Republic, well, let's think about it. No, we have to be tough on terror. So that's one reason. But another thing, that in 40 years, it has been, the numbers is not just numbers, it's not just statistics, but I have to say that more than 500 innocent dissidents have been the target of the Revolutionary Guards on European soil. On European soil. I keep repeating that the European leaders allowing the Revolutionary Guards actually to assassinate, to kidnap and kill people on their own soil. So clearly, the Islamic Republic has no reason to back off. Why? Because there is no consequence, there is no punishment for them. So that is why I believe one way to isolate the Islamic Republic is to just put the Revolutionary Guards on the terrorist list. It's not me saying that. It's millions of Iranians inside. And I remember when the Revolutionary Guard shot down the Ukrainian airplane, one of the main slogans after the brutal killing of more than 176 innocent passengers, including children, was Sepahi, Daeshi ma Shomayi. It means IRGC, you are our version of ISIS. And it's now been like 6 months after the revolution. You can see in Strasbourg, in Brussels, different cities, even in Netherlands, Iranians, like thousands of Iranians. In one of the occasion, 50,000 Iranian. In Brussels, it was 30,000 Iranians. And they have a clear demand. To isolate the Islamic Republic, the first step should be designate the Revolutionary Guards in the terrorist list. But another thing that the Netherlands can do, I know Netherlands is the third biggest trade partner of the Islamic Republic. So the Islamic Republic have hope on you. I know Netherlands was tough on Islamic Republic before. I want you to get back to your position. How? Recently, a group of journalists, Dutch journalists, they discovered recently that the Dutch corporations, Dutch companies, violating the sanctions which has been imposed on Revolutionary Guards by the Netherlands. So it's not me, Iranians in Netherlands, they asked me actually to pass this message to you. You have to actually be tough to Islamic centers, to the lobbyists, to those companies who actually try to bypass the existing sanctions, because the money goes directly to the oppressors, to those who actually kill innocent children. Recently, the report just came out by Amnesty International. Teenagers are being under torture, chemical attacks, being raped just for chanting woman life freedom, which I have been practicing a lot to say that in Dutch. It's very difficult. What was that? Frauen, Leben, Vrijheid. Just repeat it. For this, such a simple slogan, which is one of the most progressive slogan, my women are being shot in their eyes. So any business sending billions of dollars to this government means that the democratic countries clearly empowering our killers and empowering them to kill more people. By isolating them, you're going to stand in the right side of the history.
Thank you very much. Next question is for Mr. Elian from the Liberal Party.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have to repeat it, don't we? Huh? Zan, Zendegi, Azadi. We have to repeat it over and over again. Masih John, you are a hero. You are the one who gave voice to all those women over there. And we all knew what was happening. You know, we all knew what was happening, but you kept posting the videos, the white hijab, the Wednesdays. So you are a hero. You are my hero, and you are a hero for the people of Iran. And I have the same dream you have. You know, one day dancing in Tehran. You know, for me, I want to find the grave of Farah Mars and Hushang. You know, but we will get there. First things first. Masih John, I get asked a lot by Dutch people, Ulisse, how can you possibly know what the people of Iran want? I'm like, yeah, well, I'm here, but I'll just ask the question, please, because I speak to a lot of people, the dissidents in Europe. Obviously, for security reasons, it's dangerous for all of us to talk to people in Iran. But please, can you tell something about what do you think the people of Iran want? Because, you know, you can see it, the question frustrates me because I think I know the answer. But please, what do you think the people of Iran want? And what do you think what will happen when this regime will fall? And it will fall.
Thank you.
I got emotional when you talk about your dream because it's a common dream. And my first dream is to see intellectual, educated Iranians to actually run the country. Because I believe that people like you, people like Darya Safai, like Ali Reza Akhundi, like Ali Ehsasi, like many parliamentarians actually who were forced to leave Iran, and now they're making laws in different countries, in European countries, in US. We see a lot of educated Iranians, and inside Iran we see a lot of leaders. They are in prison. So my dream is to see them not being in exile, not being in prison, and just dreaming and dreaming. I want them to run the country, and believe me, the educated Iranians, they can run the country better than these backward mullahs and these backward akhund. That's my dream, and we will dance in Iran together. Zan, Zendegi, Azadi. But this question actually, I get this question often, that you're miles away from Iran, so what do you know about Iran, what they want? And many of them actually telling me in the West that Iranian oppositions are very divided, and we meet with different political leaders, different political parties. We don't know really what they want because they're not together. These are the narrative of the Islamic Republic. They're trying actually selling this to the rest of the world, saying that, you know, even Iranians don't know what they want. They're not united. No, we are united. The revolution actually taking place inside, showing you from Kurdistan to Baluchistan, from Lorestan to Khuzestan, from tiny village to Tehran, people clearly chanting, facing guns and bullets and saying that we know what we want. We want democracy. We want fair and free election. We want to have dignity. We want to have a government which actually respect freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of choice. You know why they keep asking this question? because they believe that when it comes to women in the West, they deserve to have freedom of choice. But when it comes to women in Iran and Afghanistan, oh, this is your culture. You don't deserve to have freedom of choice. For years and years, I came here to visit the foreign minister of Netherlands and ask her face to face that how come you call yourself a feminist, but you go to Iran and you bow to dictators by obeying hijab, and then with this excuse saying that, okay, I wore that because I want to respect your culture. No. A law which actually forced a 7-year-old girl to cover herself, and if she doesn't, she won't be able to get an education. A law which forced women to wear hijab. If they don't, they get lashes. The law which actually execute us if we say we don't want to practice Islam anymore. The law which execute peaceful protesters. These are not the culture of Iranians. These are the culture of the Islamic Republic and gender apartheid regime. So many in the West say that, okay, we go there because we want to solve bigger problems. That's why we don't talk about Kurds being executed. Small issue. Maybe this is your culture. That's why we don't talk about girls facing rape because they're not wearing hijab. Oh, this is your culture, you know? But we are there to solve bigger problems. So I believe that we, the people of Iran, we are not waiting for some of the Western feminists or Western leaders who are lost in our demand to save us. We don't want them to save us. Clearly, we are here to save them from their misunderstanding of our culture. There is I'm going to make long story short, there is a book written by Margaret Atwood, which is called The Handmaid's Tale. There's a series as well. The series is very well known. People in the West sitting on their sofa, eating popcorns, and enjoying this entertainment. That white women are being second-class citizens, being raped, getting lashed, and being told if you want to travel, you need male relative. This is your entertainment, but this is our reality. This is the reality of the life of women of Iran and Afghanistan. We get kicked out from school if we don't cover ourselves. We get lashes, like The Handmaid's Tale. My sisters, they were being shot in their eyes just because of wanting to have dignity, democracy. I mean, these are the things that you take it for granted here. Believe me, we know what we want. But I think that the West doesn't know that we, the people of Iran, we, the women of Iran and Afghanistan, are better allies compared to those backward mullahs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's very impressive.
I know you understand my frustrations, but today we are here. Thank you.
Welcome. Next question is for Mr. van der Lee from the Green Party.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair, and thanks very much. And I also would like to express my admiration for your clarity, the courage, the determination you have shown in the struggle together with the Iranian women. My party is a feminist party. I support feminist foreign policy. So we also are in favor of even enforcing more sanctions, diplomatic, political, economic, towards the Iranian regime. But I also would like to ask you a question related to the history since '78. One of my party members, the Senator, Farah Karimi, has told me a lot about the original revolution, and she was fighting for a progressive change in Iran, but the Islamic fundamentalists captured the revolution at the time. But if you look at the more recent history, the Arab Spring, the civil war in Libya, in Syria, the way the Taliban has succeeded to take over power in Afghanistan. What is different in this revolution, or may I ask it differently, is it possible to have a peaceful revolution, a transition in Iran? And of course you want our support, and I'm fully willing to give it, but is there now really a new opportunity? There have been attempts in the past in Iran as well. I would like to hear more about your expectations and maybe new chances you see.
That's a very Good questions, because a lot of leaders actually have the same concern that if we support Iranians to overthrow the regime, then how you can make sure that we are not seeing like the situation turn to be like Syria, Libya? I often get these questions, but you know what? You have to compare Iran with its own rich history. We have the history of civil disobedience. We have the history of, resistance. We have the history of, having rule of the laws in Iran. And when you hear from many Iranians right now, they're actually saying that, just look back to the history. 40 years ago, women had all those social freedom. So some were looking for more political freedom, but what happened by overthrowing the regime of the Shah, not only we didn't achieve any political freedom, we lost all the social freedom we already had. Clearly, the Islamic Revolution became a revolution against women, against minority, and there are three pillars to help the Islamic Republic survive: death to Israel, death to America, and women's body. So I believe that now we are ready to get back to our own history and build up Iran from there. That's why recently a group of opposition, human rights activists, with different political views, got united to have a political coalition, to have a united front, to actually, based on our charter, which is written based on human rights, the rights of minority, the rights of LGBTQ, the rights of, all the rights that you have it in secular democracy. So we want to have a peaceful transition from Islamic Republic to a secular democracy. And we believe that there are many leaders inside Iran have been fighting for years and years for such smooth transitions. But we believe that the time has come now. When the oppositions in Iran got united, it's the time for the democratic countries to be united as well, to have a united front to support pro-democracy. Look, we have been actually labeled for years and years by the Islamic Republic that you are being supported by American agent. Like I myself, I'm being labeled that I'm the agent of CIA. I am the agent of Mossad. I'm the agent of MI6. I don't know how I can work for different agents at the same time. The Islamic Republic don't get that. We have agency. We, the oppositions, we, the people of Iran, we know what we want, but here is the chance. We want the leaders of democratic country to actually meet with the oppositions instead of meeting with the clerical regime, with these clerical tyranny who actually do not have any respect for universal values, for your own values. So that is why I think we can have a smooth transitions if we all the democratic countries and those who want democracies got united. Look, Putin, Khamenei, Maduro, China, all the dictators, I always say that they are more united than those who want to have democracy. So that is why we are missing the momentum. Now it doesn't need for people to go back to the streets again, for the leaders of the democratic countries to understand that the flame of the revolution is still burning. The revolution is still alive in Iran. It's time for Western countries, for democratic leaders to recognize this revolution without waiting to see more bloodshed in the streets, So that is why this is the moment. We believe that this is the revolution. The revolution have different phases. First phase is like massive protests across the country, but the second wave and second phase is on our shoulder, and we have to take responsibility.
Thank you very much. Next question from Mr. Brekelmans from the Liberal Party.
Yes, and again, thank you very much for your inspirational speech and also your passionate remarks. I think we are all watching very closely the struggle that you are working on a daily basis. And I think it's inspirational to all of us. So thank you very much for that. I would also like to stress that we are discussing Iran, I would say, in every debate that we have on foreign policy. Every 2 weeks, we have a debate with our minister, and every time Iran is on the agenda or someone brings it up. And it doesn't depend on how many people are going to the streets or how many headlines there are in the newspaper. I think we're all watching very closely what's happening. And I also would like to emphasize that the mullahs are not our ally. And I don't think there's any political party here in the Netherlands who thinks that the mullahs are our ally. The people of Iran are our ally. And people like you struggling for freedom are our allies. I think that's very clear. There's also broad political support to put the IRC on the, to mark them as a terrorist organization. My colleague, he made a resolution for that. There was broad political support. And yesterday we discussed with our minister that we all cannot understand why there is a European legal advice to not have the IRC on the sanction list. And yesterday we asked our minister, when he's going to Brussels on Monday, to advocate for making this document transparent, to make it open in the public so we can discuss this with our, the member states can discuss this, of course, but also we in our parliament can discuss this with our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and to find alternative ways then to put them on that terrorism list, because I think it's clear what the IRC is doing. I would like to ask you a realistic question, because you also asked to have a discussion. I think a key issue is that we are looking for ways in Europe, in the West, to put more pressure on the regime. That's what we discuss in every debate. And I think all options are on the table, for example, when it comes to sanctions. But the problem is that if you look at, for example, the business that we do with Iran, it's already very limited. So I'm not so much, when you say, we need to choose between democracy and business, I think it's very clear that we would prefer democracy in Iran. But since there is already so limited business, it also makes it difficult to find other sanctions or other measures to put real pressure on the regime. Of course, we can do all sorts of symbolic ways to show our sympathy and to show our support, but I think we need to find real ways to put pressure on the regime. And an issue is, I think, if you look militarily, there's Russia supporting Iran, and economically there's China supporting Iran. And I would love to see a moment when people like yourself could also have an impact on people in China and in Russia, because I think that would be a major lever for change, but I'm very realistic. I don't think that's possible. But my question for you is, what can we truly do? What do you think is the most effective that we can do in terms of sanctions and other measures to put pressure on the regime?
I really appreciate your honesty and being very open. Appreciate that, and I also appreciate that you're putting pressure on the Prime Minister. I have so much respect for Mr. Rutte and his honesty as well. He actually promised a lot, which I needed to hear that, and we all needed to hear that, but I need your support to follow up, to make sure that he's gonna deliver his promises, because we know that leaders are really good at, maybe I shouldn't go that far, because, hey, Mr. Prime Minister, I appreciate your meeting and don't change your mind, but we need to follow up. We need to follow up. So, because as you mentioned yourself, symbolically, supporting a revolution is beautiful. Solidarity is beautiful. When I see especially the actress, well-known activists, well-known TV presenters across the globe cutting their hair, it's just heartwarming. It makes me and millions of Iranian people feel that we are not alone. But when it comes to politicians, female politicians, I keep repeating that. We really don't need them to cut their hair. We want them to cut their ties with those who kill Iranian women. And many of the politicians actually saying that we stand with the people of Iran. We don't want you to stand. We want you to sit down and make clear decisions about how to isolate the Islamic Republic. Go back to your questions. I cannot put pressure on Putin and China while I know that these are the allies of the Islamic Republic. So this is on the democratic countries to actually address Khamenei and his gang of killers the way that they addressed Putin. I actually myself, I was with President Zelensky. Alongside him, I received an award, which is called Courage Award, to say no to Khamenei, to say no to Putin. So both of us received same award, but both our countries don't receive same supports from Western countries. I don't need any award. I mean, I'm used to it, getting nasty messages, being the target of kidnapping plot, being bullied. Honestly, we the people of Iran, we don't need award. We need actually clear actions that you help President Zelensky. It's beautiful that I see the world standing with people of Ukraine, but we, the people of Iran and people of Ukraine, we are suffering from same warmongers. So that's why, like, now we don't have internet. The world helped Ukrainians to have Starlinks, but when it comes to Iran, it's just empty words. You know, we don't see it. Every single day I receive message from Iranians saying that we're going to be like, you know, isolated because of internet, and the government is going to control them. And guess what? Iranians are being kicked out from social media. Like, using social media is a crime. Using Instagram, Twitter, Facebook is a crime. Why? Because Khamenei banned 80 million Iranians from using social media, but the tech companies, Twitter, Instagram, they're actually allowing Khamenei and Ebrahim Raisi and their gang of killers to have verified account on the same social media platform. So you can do a lot. You can actually support us. You have a louder voice. You can actually, you know, ask the US government, you can ask your own allies to put pressure on the tech companies to kick out the dictators from social media until the day that Iranians have free internet. Iranians have access to their own social media. And you said that you're not the allies of mullahs. Maybe I should not use the word allies, but maybe I should not again be mean to the high representative of the EU, the female politicians who were bowing to Islamic Republic. But at the same time, when I see the situation of women in Afghanistan right now, I think maybe I should be tough. Maybe some parliamentarians change their mind to invite me again, but let's be very clear. When female politicians from European Parliament meet with the Taliban on European soil by obeying compulsory hijab laws, how do you call this? Here, there is no law calling the female politicians to cover your hair. You're Western female politicians, you have power. You can say no to Taliban, but you bow to them. So if this is not an alliance, then how do you call it? A negotiation? You only negotiate with Taliban, with the Islamic Republic, in a way that you use pressure on them, not bowing to them. So maybe that's why I use the word alliance, because I keep seeing that still people are trying to legitimize these backward mullahs and Talibans, still the same way. So that is why I believe that there are many ways that you can help Iranians, especially as I mentioned from the beginning, because Netherlands was really tough during negotiation. Many leaders that I met yesterday, I met with many, you know, former ministers here in Netherlands. They were anti-nuclear deal, and when we were talking, people were like labeling us. Oh, so now you're supporting war? No, the warmongers are the Islamic Republic officials. And let me tell you something. In this revolution, that was the people of Iran burning the pictures of Qasem Soleimani. So that is why we are anti-war. And we believe that that the West can actually sign the agreement with the secular democracy and with the people of Iran, not with this government, because the benefit of the deal, the benefit of any business with this government doesn't go to the people of Iran. I'm going to just give you one example. There are 51 religious institutions in Iran. All the money through the trade and business that the West have with the Revolutionary Guards, go to these 51 religious institutions. When people of Iran were suffering from sanction, the Islamic Republic were actually increased the budget of morality police. They increased the budget of two institutions called مؤسسه حفظ نشر و آثار مصباح، مؤسسه حفظ و نشر آثار خامنه ای. من چجوری اینا رو ترجمه کنم؟ I cannot even translate these. I cannot even translate it for you that there are some institutions in Iran that their responsibility is to promote the ideas of Khomeini. What is the ideas of Khomeini, the founder of the Islamic Republic? Is to rape girls on the name of actually marriage. When they say that girls can marry at the age of 9, we call it rape. What do you call it as a woman? It is rape. So these are the ideas of Khomeini, that the Islamic Republic get the money through the business and increase the budgets of these religious institutions. And morality police is a bunch of officers walking around in the streets and telling women, cover yourself. And Mahsa Amini was only one of the victims of morality police. So that is why when I say that do not bury human rights and democracy under business and trade with the Islamic Republic, I mean that you have to actually follow your own existing imposing sanctions as well, which clearly I talked to Mr. Prime Minister yesterday, and I mentioned about 45 Dutch companies that has actually violated the sanctions. The reports is everywhere. Many Iranians are here. They can actually, I can put you in touch with Iranians who are brave enough under a lot of threats. They have done their research and they can help you. They can pass the information to you to find out that how you can actually isolate them, you can prosecute them, and you can kick them out from your own land.
Thank you. Next question is for Mr. Seder from the Christian Union.
Thank you so much, and it's an honor to have you here in our parliament. I'd like to start saying that I think you are a very brave woman, and I've been following you for quite some years. And brave isn't a lack of fear, but even despite sometimes having difficult situations or even having fear, continuing and persevering. And I think that's something that I see in you, which I admire a lot. Before being a parliamentarian, I've stood with many of the Iranian people in the Netherlands protesting, because every once in a while, the demonstrations in Iran, they give hope. They seem to lead to awareness, and we have a lot of people here. We have a diaspora here, some of them sitting here, but I've spoken to many who really feel that there's a momentum now which gives hope to a better change. And I hope in some way to contribute to that hope, to do justice to every person in Iran. That's also the reason why a few weeks ago I petitioned a motion which was broadly accepted and voted for, to put the Revolutionary Guard on the EU terror list, something that we as a parliament felt was a necessary step. And as some of my colleagues have mentioned, that step has been frustrated on an EU level because of legal reasons. We hope to dive into those reasons, because I have a profession. My previous profession was being a lawyer, so I really want to see if that really stands, because I really think this is the necessary step. But my question concerning that is, I know that you've been traveling and speaking to a lot of parliamentarians. This isn't your first visit in Europe, and I was wondering if you can sketch some of the conversations you have been having with other parliamentarians in other countries in the EU, because I think that one of the key steps that we need to take in order to impose sanctions, but also be of one unity, is to make sure that all the parliaments are speaking the same language. And I was wondering if you can elaborate on that, of what your conversations have looked like in the last couple of months, weeks, maybe even years. And if you can point out who we need to collaborate, talk to make sure that we can form a unified bloc towards the terror which is being imposed on the people of Iran. Thank you.
So much. First of all, I have to thank you for making it very clear that being brave doesn't mean that we don't have fear. Because I actually ask many policymakers who have the power to do something, they have the fear that maybe their family members are going to be the target of the Revolutionary Guards. Recently, I mean, just yesterday, I got canceled by one of the organizations who invited me. When they've done their own research, they found out that I am being the target of the Islamic Republic to be assassinated, to be killed, to be kidnapped on US soil. They changed their mind and they said that we still love you, we still support you, but we are worried for the attendees. Oh, there is a well-known painter. I'm not going to mention her name, maybe she changed her mind. So she was trying to actually draw my face to support me and Iranian women. And then I received an email and saying that I have 2 children and I'm worried for my own children. I found out that, you know, you're really wanted by the Iranian regime. And you know what I say to them? I have fear as well. I mean, this is natural. Of course, it's scary to see a man with loaded gun in front of your house. He was a big man. He didn't even need to have the gun. He could just kill me like this. But the thing is, for me, I'm not scared for my own life. For me, the most scariest thing in the world is that to see this is happening in 21st century, that the Iranian regime can challenge the US government on US soil, can challenge the European government on European soil. And that's the most scariest thing. Otherwise, I'm ready to die if that can make awareness among the leaders in different countries that the Islamic Republic is a terrorist regime. To answer your questions, yes, I have been meeting many parliamentarians, many leaders. I met with President Macron, with many, leaders that say they're really frustrated. They want to put the Revolutionary Guards in the terrorist list, but their struggle is, let's just make it clear, their struggle is Joseph Borrell, and is that correct, my pronunciation? Mm-hmm. So and I think that all the parliamentarians can have a unified voice, because I keep hearing that, but I don't see any result. Everywhere I go, people say that, yes, we believe that the Revolutionary Guards is a terrorist list, is a terrorist organization, but what is the struggle? I believe that you don't have unified voice, like unified committee or coalition to go and meet with those who actually are the real obstacles or the real challenge and talk to them in a united front. Maybe you can convince them. The thing is now, Revolutionary Guards being designated as a terrorist organization by the US government, but US allies are still hesitating. I don't even know how they can justify this, So maybe that's something that you can do it, having unified voice among all the parliamentarians. During the apartheid in South Africa, every leaders were united to boycott and ban South Africa. Why? Because of the apartheid. So here we are, we the women of Iran and Afghanistan. We launched a campaign to actually call on the leaders to expand the definition of apartheid to include gender in all international laws. And that's the pattern. I think that can help the leaders to make right decision when we see gender apartheid in all international laws. Because the Islamic Republic is clearly a gender apartheid regime. So maybe this is another era that can help you and the parliamentarians if you help this campaign. This is a campaign actually being launched recently by Iranian women and women of Afghanistan together. We decided to be united and to actually ask the democratic countries to isolate the gender apartheid regime. Yesterday, actually, I learned from Mr. Rosenthal, my pronunciation is correct, and some Iranian activists who have been sacrificing their life, Iranians, for years and years, actually, to convince the leaders of democratic countries that the Islamic Republic is a gender apartheid regime. But now they're going actually to launch a committee, Free Iran Committee, in Netherlands, to actually put pressure on the Iranian regime and the leader, to educate the public opinion, to educate the democratic countries that this regime must be isolated. But you know what is missing here? I'm fully supporting this committee. This is phenomenal, but it could be very, very, big and historical movement if the other countries join them and have it like the way that during apartheid in South Africa, there were anti-apartheid committee everywhere. So imagine a day, there is Free Iran Committee everywhere. Netherlands can take the lead, but Belgium, France, Germany, Sweden, and Spain, which we keep hearing that they are the obstacles, they are the one actually having difficulties to put the Revolutionary Guards in the terrorist list. So imagine there is a committee launched by the former leaders of the European countries everywhere to fight against gender apartheid regime. That would help not only Iranian women, that would help the world to be a much safer place to live. Believe me.
Thank you very much. With your permission, I want to ask a question myself and then conclude the meeting, and maybe we can make a picture.
Sure.
I would like to ask you about the so-called network of repression from the Iranian regime. How does it operate in the world? How does it operate in Europe? How does it maybe even operate in the Netherlands? What is your own experience with it, and what can we do about it?
But I have to ask you, honestly, because we are like shocked. We are shocked. I myself, you ask about my own experience. I remember 2 years ago when the 6 agents of the FBI came to my house and they told me that you're not safe, your life is under threats. I said, what's new? Because we Iranians are used to receive death threats. Tell me if there is something new. And then they showed me the pictures of myself being taken by private investigator hired by Iranian regime. The picture of my stepson, my husband, my garden. And I was shocked that how they transferred money laundering, how they hired someone on US soil to, to follow my step, sending photos and videos of my movement every 1 hour to the intelligence service in Iran. And then they stopped the kidnapping plot. The US government actually, the Justice of Department charged 4 Revolutionary Guards agents for this kidnapping plot. And I thought, okay, everything is gone, now I'm gonna be safe. Just a few months ago, the FBI announced that the Islamic Republic actually hired 3 criminals from East European criminal syndicates. So this is how I actually, get frustrated that Putin, all the dictators, helping each other. Like the first kidnapping attempt, they were trying to take me with a speedboat from America to Venezuela. Why Venezuela? Why the third country? Because they tried it before. When one of my colleagues, Ruhollah Zam, father of 2 children, lived in France. They tricked him from France to third country, Iraq, and they kidnapped him from Iraq. Immediately, they executed him. There are many cases here. Right now that I'm talking to you, Jamshid Sharmat, German citizen. He was actually kidnapped in 21st century by the Islamic Republic. Now he received death sentence in Iran. Habib Aswad, kidnapped, and now he's in Iran. Recently, he received death sentence. I cannot even believe that this is happening. Right now that I'm talking to you, so you said that how this is happening, how these kidnapping operation happening, how this hostage taking happening. To me, in my side, it's very clear, because when the Islamic Republic tried hostage-taking diplomacy, when they tried assassination diplomacy, when they see that it works, the Western government buy this diplomacy, then there is no reason for them to stop kidnapping and assassinating and doing their oppression on European soil. For instance, right now that I'm talking to you, German citizen, Swedish citizen, Belgium citizen, citizens from all over the world, US citizen, UK citizens, Australian citizens, Netherlands, they're all in Iranian prison being used by the Islamic Republic like bargaining chip to convince them to get a nuclear deal. So imagine a day, instead of us sitting here, all the leaders of these countries that I named, President Macron, Chancellor of Germany, Prime Minister of the UK, President of the United States of America, Prime Minister of Netherlands, imagine they sit all together and call on the Islamic Republic that we're going to downgrade our diplomatic relations until the day that you release all the innocent political prisoners. This is how diplomacy works. You cannot, I mean, President Macron, Prime Minister Rutte, they both said that they are worried about the hostages. You know what I said? I understand that you are worried about the life of your citizens. I am worried for them as well. But we, the people of Iran, are hostage as well. They brought my sister on TV to disown me publicly. They put my brother in prison for 2 years. You know, I know there are many Iranians, their family members, were being the target of the Islamic Republic. They are hostage there. None of us bowed to the hostage takers. You know, I was told that if I just removed one photo of one of the head of the prison in Iran from my social media, they're gonna release my brother. I still feel guilty that I didn't do it. From the beginning, when they arrested him, they said that if you just keep quiet for 2 months, we're not gonna put pressure on your brother. My mother said to them, my mother is a village woman. I mean, she doesn't even know how to write, how to read. They asked her to go on TV to denounce me publicly. She said, I set fire on myself and I killed myself, but I'm not gonna go on TV and denounce my daughter. But I believe the Foreign Minister of Netherlands, Catherine Ashton, Federico Mogherini, they have more power than my mom from a small, tiny village. So that is why I believe that if the West stick with its own values and tell the Iranian regime that we're not going to give you billions of dollars to release our political prisoners, this is going to send a message to the Islamic Republic that you cannot take more hostages from us. We're not going to bow to your assassination operation, your kidnapping operation abroad. This is the only way. دروغ میگم؟ This is the only way that we have.
Ms. Ahmadinejad, I want to thank you very much for your impressive statements and your strong performance. We fully support your struggle. Thank you very much. I want to propose to make a picture by standing maybe here against the wall and then...
I have been fighting against men and women in Iran is forbidden because of the Islamic Republic. I want to actually show you the true culture of Iranians. They don't even shake hands with you. That's why I get frustrated that how come that you can negotiate with government. They say that hugging, dancing, kissing on the cheek, it's a crime. So I want to hug you. It's compulsory, not just taking the picture.
We're at your service.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being with you.